up in a ditch. Don't end up in a ditch. Guys, Dakota here, and welcome to the R8. Kind of its first introduction to the channel, if you will, a proper introduction. So what I thought I'd do in today's video is literally just, why I went R8 and why I ended up with this particular one. And but God, I mean, just that initial shift with the clinks. I mean, just listen to the noises this thing makes, just in general. Alright, that's, yep. It's so good. Like I said, we are going to go find a nice place to stop and kind of talk about the car and talk about why I got it. As you guys can tell, driving wise, I enjoy driving it like all the time. Compared to the Shelby that I just got rid of, if you guys are familiar with the channel, I enjoy driving this thing way more. It's awesome. Let's just go ahead. I'll catch up with you guys, and then we'll talk about the car. Okay, so the R8. I did a little bit of a kind of an introduction, kind of a brief overview on the day that we picked it up. But now, like I said, I figured we'd just kind of do a more in-depth tour and explanation of the car. So this is a 2011 Audi R8 V8, and it's the gated 6-speed manual. In my opinion, the only way to get the pre-facelift Gen 1 R8, because in 2012, I believe, they actually added the dual clutch, which is a much better transmission than the single clutch automated manual. But again, for me, the gated manual makes the most sense. So why did I choose to go with this particular R8? There's probably, obviously there's a few on the market. And why did I go with the V8 instead of, say, the V10? So first of all, the main reason that I went with this particular car, which again I briefly touched on when I went and picked it up, is this particular car is in fantastic condition. I mean, just the way this car is, it technically has had 2 owners, but only one of them really actually drove the car. The second owner owned it for about 30 days and then got rid of it. So it didn't really do anything with the car. So, and it had, when I picked it up, under 24,000 miles, being the fact that it is almost, what, 12 years old now. And so I wanted a car that was low mileage, low ownership, because plenty of these have, 6, 8 owners. And So when you start to cycle through people, I mean, you know, you don't necessarily get a consistent owner experience, if you will, where, you know, some owners might be better than others, obviously. And it's just been cycled through less. And this car has just been extremely well taken care of. And the biggest reason is, obviously, you guys know I like blue. I went with this for a couple of reasons. Exterior, I love that it's not black wheels, and also that it's not the silver wheels. These gray wheels, I think, look fantastic. I think they look really good, and I'm a really big fan of the Gen 1 R8 wheels. I just think they look awesome. I mean, plus, I mean, this is Iron Man's car, you know. I mean, this car, the original Audi R8 V8 was in Iron Man 1, and it was in the infamous Top Gear episode, so I mean, it kind of just is the classic R8. Other things on the exterior is the carbon fiber side blades, which was a factory option. And so I really like that it had the factory carbon fiber. I just think it looks really good. Plus, also, if we take a look back here at the exhaust tips, it matches the wheels. So now, some of you guys will know that V8s typically have twin exhausts on each side, where it's a quad tip. Usually the V10s had the ovals, so I'm not quite sure if this thing was a factory option or not. I have to do some more digging. Also, if you guys look in here, it's definitely not the stock exhaust. I don't know what brand it is, but it sounds awesome. So, and the other reason I went with this particular car is for the interior. Now, I am a big fan of non-black interiors, and especially on the R8s, the black interiors usually look pretty worn down, pretty beaten. And this particular car, I mean, everything in the car looks great. The door panels look good. The leather isn't super shiny, hasn't worn a lot. And again, it doesn't have a whole lot of mileage. I mean, the car itself is just super, super clean on the inside. And again, I'm a big fan of non-black interiors, so to me, condition and interior color were a lot more important than exterior color. And again, this car is great. I had it taken it in recently to get just kind of a brief minor service, you know, an oil change and just kind of a brief once over. It needs tires, not because there's obviously a lot of mileage on them, but just because they're old. So I will be getting new tires. Original equipment was Pirelli P0s on the front and back, 305s in the rear, 235s up front. I will be going to probably Michelin PS4Ss. I just think that's a better tire overall. So as far as the engine goes, like I said, obviously this is the V8, 4.2 liter flat plane crank V8, and the 2011 got the power bump. So it went from 420 to 430 horsepower. And by the way, guys, 430 horsepower doesn't sound like a lot. I promise you this thing is fast. From 60 onwards, this feels faster than the Corvette. 0 to 60, the Corvette would destroy this. But 60 onwards, this definitely feels faster. Part of that's down to the gearing and the fact that this actually weighs, this is the lightest car I've owned. This thing only weighs like 3,400 pounds. So it's about 300 pounds lighter than the Camaro or the Shelby. And probably about 150, 200 pounds lighter than the Corvette. So why V8? If we're being honest with ourselves, I think everybody would choose the V10 if money was no object, you know, it was just if you could just choose. But obviously I do like have to pay for these things. So, and the price difference isn't small. It's a gigantic price difference. Low mileage, similar condition V10s like this, gated manuals are anywhere from, at the moment, what I'm recording is, are anywhere from, again, in the condition like this, not with crazy high mileage, are anywhere from $170,000 to $205,000, which is a huge difference compared to what this was. I paid $90,000, this was $94,000. So a gigantic price difference between this car and the V10. Now, I did have the opportunity a while back to potentially get into a V10, and at the time I think it would have been like 140 grand, and it had like 17,000 miles gated manual. I didn't do that because I thought that was a bit too much, so yeah, I made a mistake. But the V8 is awesome. I'm not sad that I got the V8. I would just, if money was no issue, then I would have bought the V10 just because. But this engine is awesome. And I know there's some people that kind of question the reliability of these things. The engine itself is reliable. You do have to make sure that you don't get too much carbon buildup. You know, you need to get that looked at every now and then, because this vehicle is direct injection. And the AC, you know, a lot of people talk about those problems, but this car's AC at the moment works totally fine, and I haven't had any issues with the car, and there's been no mechanical issues with the car. And again, just hopping in the car here, obviously the gated manual, which sounds amazing. This particular car was optioned with the magnetic suspension. Another thing you got to be careful with, because a lot of the times they leak. This car seems to be okay. You get your traction control and your spoiler. The only thing right here that should be here, but I guess whoever ordered this car didn't feel like ordering it, is parking sensors. This car does have the Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is kind of a must, because it's a decent sound system, but the standard one is not very good. This is not part of the car. This was just something that the previous owner put on. So I'm probably going to take that off. I don't know. Stock head unit, which, so obviously this car came out before Apple CarPlay and all that stuff. And you would think, oh man, that kind of sucks. I got to be honest with you guys. It's actually not that big of a deal. I thought it would be. I thought I'd be like, okay, I'm going to swap that immediately. But I mean, you just use your phone. I mean, you can just get a suction cup mount, put it on the windshield or on the air vents, you know, like, and just use your phone. So it's not that big of a deal. It does have an auxiliary cord, or an auxiliary spot back here, so you can just plug that in and plug it into your phone. It also has a CD player, which is hilarious. And this shelf back here is actually really roomy, and it makes the car a lot more practical on the inside, because there's actually quite a bit of room in here. I mean, it's very spacious. You know, my cousin and I, as you guys might have seen, drove it 4.5 hours back when we picked it up, and it was super comfortable the whole way. Plenty of space. You know, you can put stuff back there. You also got the front trunk. Yeah, just a great, you know, car to kind of cruise around in. All right, so just to recap, again, the main reason for buying the R8 is, A, it was always just a dream car of mine when I was a kid. So it feels really cool to have this car. I can't even tell you how many times I've just sat in the garage just looking at it and just being like, whoa, this is mine. Really awesome. 2, it kind of combines all the things that I liked about some of my other cars and rolls them into one. I mean, it drives so well. I mean, you hop in anything from 2011, especially after you've driven newer stuff. I mean, if you go from a new Camaro to a 2011 Camaro, you'd be hard pressed to be like, yeah, this one drives better. And so it's just really awesome that this thing drives so well. That gated manual with the sounds that it makes, as well as the sounds the engine makes, and it feels fast. You know, too many people get caught up in, oh, it doesn't have 800 horsepower. Like, this car feels fast. I mean, the Shelby has 100 more horsepower than this, and this feels just as fast. So, I mean, and a lot of that's down to gearing and the fact, again, that it weighs a lot less. But yeah, so it's such an awesome car, and that's kind of why I bought it. It's a car that I can really enjoy. I plan on doing some road trips in it, and I mainly bought it for me. You know, I didn't buy it like for YouTube or whatever, because there's plenty of people who buy these as like their first supercar. There's plenty of videos on it, but I'll still post videos. But I mainly bought this for me because I wanted it, not because I thought it would make good videos. Because obviously most of my videos tend to do better when they're off-road focused for some reason. So anyways, guys, here's the car. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. I will be doing plenty of videos on this car. Again, I know I said it's not for YouTube, but I still will be making it just because I enjoy it. So, you know, talk about maintenance and what we're doing to the car and just different things like that. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.